Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. And well, Google has been ruled a monopoly in search. So officially, a judge has ruled that Google is a monopoly. So we're going to discuss what that means, what's going to happen now that this judgment has come down, and a whole lot else. We've got a couple of other news stories that we're going to discuss as well. And but first of all, Jared, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great, Spencer. You came back on a great day. I mean, I can tell you're still in the summer. You get a little scruff going there if you're not watching the
That's
podcast.
right.
Spencer's got the kind of I'm here, I'm not here. But you picked a good day to come back. This is a big podcast episode.
It's a big one. A monopoly ruling. I mean, this is massive, right? I mean, you hear about cases that have happened in the 80s with telephone companies and, other Microsoft in the 90s. And now we've got Google has been ruled a monopoly. I should just tease that here in the episode, we're also going to talk about a couple of side hustle projects that we have. So stick around for that. And Jared has a really good weird niche site that he's going to share. And I've got an okay one that I'm going to share. So stick around for those. So first of all, a U.S. court. We've been talking about this Department of Justice case against Google for it feels like a year.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when it started. I'd have to go look at the timeline, but a judge has officially ruled that Google has an illegal monopoly on search, and a lot of this came down to how Google operated with mobile phones and how they were the default search engine on Apple devices and, of course, Android, because they own Android. Google has been the default search engine there. And so the judge ruled that a lot of that was an illegal practice. And in particular, Google has paid out something like $26 billion, I guess, in just 2021 to maintain its search dominance, to be that default search engine, mostly on mobile devices and iPads and things like that. And so they are considered a monopoly. And so what does this mean going forward? Well, right now, of course, Google has appealed this decision. And so it's going to continue to carry out in the court system. We don't know how long that's going to take. People project that it's likely going to go into next year and possibly even into 2026 before really anything of substance happens, the appeals process. But it's a huge, huge decision.
The lawsuit was brought forward in 2020. It was the first time in quoted generations. I was going to say 20 years because I think, to your point in the intro, like it's been about 20 years since the DOJ has brought a case, which is a monopoly case, has been brought before a major U.S. corporation. It was a 10-week trial that happened last fall, and I think that was when you and I started talking about it. So probably 11 months ago, 10 months ago.
Yep.
The trial lasted 10 weeks, and so it concluded, darn near 9 months ago. But it took a long time for the judge to go through everything. Google has another trial they're starting in September for something similar but unrelated. And then to your point, they're going to appeal it. The appeal process is going to take a long time. And after the appeal process, someone has to figure out what actually comes as a result of this. It's one thing to have it be settled that they are a monopoly. Now what comes of it? And I think we'll talk about that in the coming minutes.
Right. Exactly. There's a Wired article here that I've got pulled up that talked a lot about the potential outcomes, right? What might some of the remedies be? So the case now enters a remedy phase where the judge actually comes up with some actionable points of like, here's what we need to do. Do we break up the company? Do we ban certain practices? Do we change how Google operates in some way? So the judge actually sits down and is going through this remedy phase right now to come up with a decision of like, here's what would make it okay for Google to continue to operate so it's no longer considered a monopoly. And so, again, some of those things here, ban revenue sharing. This is one potential outcome that Google has been sharing revenue for search and ads, based on the device. right? So Apple, Samsung, Mozilla, other companies have, are the default search engine, and there's a lot of revenue sharing that goes into that.
And again,
And
the
so,
idea on this one is that right now Google is able to use their financial might that they have accrued from monopolistic practices to then bulldoze other search engines out. So in other words, like, you got here, Google, because you're being monopolistic. That means you have a ton of budget you can now spend to basically not make it possible for anybody else to compete with you.
right, exactly. I mean, you think about the DuckDuckGos of the world, right? They can't just throw down $26 billion
And
to
we've
be the
talked about that.
default,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know?
Like, it's just not possible.
Do you ever get stuck in your business and wish you had someone you could turn to for solutions? Well, I think you should consider joining the Niche Pursuits community. You'll get weekly calls with experts on growing a successful online business, and you'll also get assigned a small mastermind group where you can solve your business problems as well as share your wins. For a limited time, I'll let you try out the Niche Pursuits community for just $1. Go ahead and use coupon code PODCAST at checkout in order to get your first month for just $1. Again, that's coupon code PODCAST. Go to community.nichepursuits.com today and see what it's all about. And maybe I'll see you on our call next week. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's a chicken and the egg scenario, right? Google, of course, has been the dominant search engine, but because they've been the dominant, they were able to throw more ad dollars and become even more dominant as the default search engine. And now, like you said, that's put them in this place of, okay, they've truly become a monopoly because they can essentially get rid of all the competition out there because they can pay to be in the position that they need to be in.
It's interesting because, and I'm no lawyer, so what I'm about to say is absolutely not legal interpretation. But I really did think from a high level, a lot of this was, and a lot of stuff we look at, and it just reminds me that we have our own lens on search and Google, and the way that they adjudicate on it is very different. We were looking at like all the collusion that was being brought forth between the ad department and the search department. And I was like, that's the smoking gun right here. Like, look, like Google made search results worse in order to prop up their ad budget, or their ad revenue, like, duh. But really, it seems like from reading this and kind of leaning into commentary from other professionals on this, it really seems to focus on the fact, not so much how they get their revenue, but how they then use that revenue to force others from competing with them. And I think that's an interesting thing to think about. It does parlay nicely into all the stuff we've talked about, but it's really all the stuff that's happening is more a matter of how they're forcing others out with all the money and all the success they've earned.
Right. Yeah, I mean, truly, you become a monopoly, right? If you're the big gorilla in the room and you can just keep elbowing new players out,
Yeah.
and so there's really no competition. It does make a lot of sense, right? And so there's a couple other sort of remedies here. They can require choice screens. The judge can say, hey, on Apple devices, you need to have this ability to very easily not have Google as your default, or Google doesn't become the default. Right. I guess in the European Union, Google has been required to have this menu of search options on Android devices and in Chrome browsers. So something similar like that. There could be a divestiture, right, of Google needs to break up. Maybe that is splitting up its ad platform from search. I mean, that would be kind of crazy to think about that. But Google is a large, Alphabet is a large company, and so maybe it's time that they actually split that up into pieces, like AT&T and other phone companies had to do back in the 80s. And then there's a couple of
most analysts are saying that's probably unlikely. Because I'll admit, like, the inner voice in me was like, yes, let's have that be the outcome.
Yeah.
Channeling my inner Morgan from last week's podcast episode. But I think a lot of analysts, from what I was reading, were like, this is probably not what's going to happen, but it's definitely on the table.
Yeah, right. You never know what they're going to come back with, right? Force Google to share, right? Share data and algorithms with its search competition. So
yeah.
their competitors could improve. That would be really interesting, right?
It's interesting to we could noodle in on this one if you want. We'll keep it high level for now. But yeah, suffice to say that they might just have to share the data they've accrued.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially like saying, "Hey, Coca-Cola, you need to share your secret recipe with Pepsi and other cola companies so that they can compete." In a way, right? I mean, that's kind of Google's secret sauce is their algorithm. So if a judge comes in and says, "You need to share this algorithm," or I really don't think that would happen.
I don't
I don't think that's the answer here,
either.
but apparently it's on the table.
I think there's layers to it.
Yeah.
Sharing data is different than sharing the algorithm.
Hmm.
Not saying that both options aren't on the table, but just like Google could share some of the data they collect
Right.
versus the actual algorithm, which is what they write to interpret the data. I think monopolistically, it would make sense that
Yep.
DuckDuckGo wouldn't get access to certain data because they've been forced out. But it makes less sense that, hey, here's the data. What do you want to do with it? It's up to you to know what to do with it. So I think there's layers
Yep.
there that could end up getting adjudicated on.
Yeah. And then sort of the last one listed here in the Wired article is just to increase oversight, right? Google could just have closer eyes on them, right? Whether that's some sort of legal experts, keeping a closer eye on what they're doing internally, or some external organization that has this oversight. We don't know what that looks like. Again, this is one of these things. It's a huge judgment, but actually, day to day, like nothing may happen for a couple of years, because of course Google is going to appeal this and push any really actionable items further down the road.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point. I mean, how does this come into play with what we tend to talk about with Google and their search environment? Oh, who knows? And frankly, like anything would just be a guess at this point. And precedent would say that like whatever comes of it, which no one really knows, is going to take several years because they are already appealing. We have to talk about their statement, Spencer. If you're listening, you haven't heard their statement yet, boy, we can talk about this and we can share opinions on this, but they are appealing, which they said in their statement. We know that's going to delay anything that focuses on the remedies of this and stuff. So, certainly very newsworthy, very big deal, huge deal when you think about cases like this. But what's coming of it? It's going to be a while.
Right. Exactly. And so, yes, I agree, Jared. I think we talk about the official Google communication that has come out after this. So, I mean, if people are listening, you can just imagine what Google might say. Of course, they don't agree, right? But let's read what they said here on Twitter, their official Google communications department here. It says, this decision recognizes that Google offers the best search engine, but concludes that we shouldn't be allowed to make it easily available. That's a great sentence.
Easily.
Right.
Interesting word
Make
choice.
it easily. Default. Yeah. We appreciate the court's finding that Google is the industry's highest quality search engine, which has earned Google the trust of hundreds of millions of daily users. That Google has long been the best search engine, particularly on mobile devices, has continued to innovate in search, and that Apple and Mozilla occasionally assess Google's search quality relative to its rivals and find Google's to be superior. Given this, and that people are increasingly looking for information in more and more ways, we plan to appeal. As this process continues, we will remain focused on making products that people find helpful and easy to use. That's from Kent Walker, the president of Global Affairs. So, as you might expect, they kind of spin this into a way of like, hey, the judge and all these companies involved continue to say that Google is the best search engine out there. They take these quotes where Google has been innovating and is trusted by hundreds of millions of daily users, and spin this as like, oh, no, we're just the best. We didn't do anything wrong, of course, right?
I thought Cyrus Shepard's response was the best I've seen of anyone.
And I've got that pulled up here as well. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Okay. He said, I can't believe this is a real tweet, completely gaslights the harm that's been caused by Google's monopoly. And then he lists three things that, according to the ruling, Google allowed it to overcharge businesses. They stifled investment and innovation, and they degraded ad quality. And he finished by saying, yes, you have the best search engine, and you achieved it illegally.
Ouch. Ouch.
By the way, Cyrus works for Google for a while as a quality rater.
That's right. His little
I mean,
side
technically,
hustle
he
as a
worked for a
quality
third-party
rater.
company but let's not let the details get in the way. Like, he was a quality rater reviewer.
Yeah, and I mean, coming from somebody, I mean, he's an SEO professional. He has software tools and services, right? So he's very much invested in Google and SEO, but he calls it like it is, right? Yeah, you've got the best search engine, but you did it illegally. Just a great statement. I agree. We've got other people that have made statements. Morgan even chimed in on this Google Communications tweet here. Isn't it so nice, Google Communications, to be granted the privilege to, 1, plead your case to the Department of Justice, and 2, file an appeal? Thousands of small publishers weren't given either of those options when you tried to put them out of business this year. Whew. Ouch. She's getting salty on Twitter as usual there as well. But hey, call it as it is, because a lot of small publishers were hurt through all the different updates. But Google just kind of rolls along, and even when they do things illegally, right, they're going to file an appeal. And is anything actionable really going to come of this?
What do you think of their claims? Best search engine. And as a result, why are they not allowed to do whatever they want to make sure that it's everywhere it needs to be, because it is the best?
So Google, I mean, of course, like I have to agree. Google is the best search engine. They have been for a long time. Other search engines are certainly getting better. And I guess maybe if we all sat down and did a side-by-side comparison, maybe Google isn't the best search engine anymore. I don't know, but they have historically been the best. But the practices of being able to essentially remove competition, I mean, it is monopolistic behavior. Just because you have the best search engine doesn't mean you can spend every penny in the world to kick your competitors out. There's a really fine line here, right? Because as a business, like, it's smart business. If I had the opportunity to be the default anything on an Apple device, and I can just pay to be that default, like, and I had the money, like, it would be dumb not to do that, right? And so it's a fine line of, like, okay, Google is just doing all they can and using their resources to continue to be that default search engine. That's smart, but they clearly have stepped over a line at some point to be the default on all devices, Android, Apple, anywhere else, and to take these other actions that they've taken to keep competitors out. Like, maybe they didn't even know internally they crossed that line, but clearly they have.
And that's exactly how I would have put it, for the record. I couldn't agree more. And that's where this whole PR thing is really most of the gripes we internally have with Google aren't their monopolistic practices. In effect, it's their collusion and all this other stuff that we talk about. And again, I'm insinuating, it's not a direct threat or claim, but just, we have a lot of problems with Google, but it's really not about what they just got the lawsuit about. What's interesting, though, is, to exactly your point, like, the PR side of this is the real big mess up. Coming out and saying, we've been told by our users, by our stock price, by our metrics, by our dominance in terms of market share, and by companies like Apple and Samsung, et cetera. We've been told that we're the best search engine. And Apple wants us to be in their default browser, and Samsung and users. And so we were just acting in the best interest of the users, the data we've been given, and the budget that we have. And we will appeal, but we will present our case for why we don't think we've been monopolistic. But, like, again, to Cyrus's point, like, just the straight up gaslighting of the PR
Right.
response, which such a different position. To your point, you can rationalize some of the activities, whether they're true or not, but to just straight up say, like, hey, there's laws and we don't respect those. It's just so
pretty
crazy.
much. I mean, pretty much. I mean, like, if they were to take a good hard look and think, like if Google is not a monopoly, what is a monopoly, right? Like at what point do you become a monopoly? You're the default everywhere. You're spending more money than your competitors. And so you're keeping them out of certain markets in terms of, phone devices, Chrome browsers, and even Mozilla, right? You're now the default on Mozilla. What is a monopoly if Google isn't? And so, of course, I forgot his name here. Kent Walker, the president of Global Affairs, that's his job, is to kind of spin this if he can in some positive way. But internally, I'm sure they're scrambling.
It's almost like when someone does something to you that is egregious, and their response is, "Well, I didn't mean to do it." It's like, okay, well, that's good. That's nice. But you still did it.
Mm-hmm.
So we still need to have a conversation about it because it happened. Well, yeah, but I didn't mean to. So we really don't need to have a conversation about it. It's like, yeah, but it actually happened. To your point, every monopoly starts with the best of intentions. That's how they got to be big enough to exercise monopolistic tendencies and characteristics. But in this case, the judge said, you are doing illegal things. We have laws and rules about it.
Yep.
And Google's response is fascinating.
Yeah, no, it really is. It really is. So I'm sure we'll keep talking about this because the appeals process is going to go on for a year or more. And so we'll keep bringing this up. And like you said, there's another case, I believe also brought by the Department of Justice.
Yeah, I should have had that
related. It's related to their ad business, if I recall, but I'm sure we'll be talking about that down the road when that actually starts happening as well. I kind of feel like, Jared, maybe we just leave the news at that. There's a couple other news stories, but they're pretty minor compared to this story. So maybe we'll just shelve the rest of the news, and that just gives us a little bit more time to talk about our side hustles and talk about the weird niche sites that we have. So maybe we'll just go ahead and jump right into those at this point. So I'll go first here, talking about, our segment here is called the shiny object shenanigans. And it's been a couple of weeks, I guess, since I was on, and I've been working on the Facebook bonus program. I've now been on the Facebook bonus program for just over 2 months, almost exactly 2 months, but just over that. And the first month, my Facebook page made about $3,000 in its very first month. I was on track for my second month to do about $4,500. However, it only ended up also at about $3,000.
Oh.
So the last 2 weeks of July, something really changed. And so I always like to be very upfront and honest and just share what's going on. Facebook appears to have changed their algorithm in some way because the reach to my Facebook page just dramatically dropped. We didn't do anything differently. We continued to post about 15 times a day on this Facebook page. And to give people an idea, on average, my Facebook page was getting around 500,000 to 1 million reach or impressions per day. So doing really well. And it just out of nowhere, it fell off a cliff down to like 50,000 impressions a day, right? So like 10% or less of what it was doing. And because I'm a member of the Niche Pursuits community, actually several other people there posted and asked, hey, have you seen a dramatic drop in your Facebook page? And I said, yes, I have. And so it gave me a little bit of consolation there to know that, hey, others are going through the same thing. So a lot of other people also saw the same dramatic drop as well. And so I went from earning like $100 a day to like $10 a day on the bonus program. And I just felt terrible. I was like, oh man, this is like reliving Google all over again. These algorithm changes,
this is like
or whatever it is
happening in Facebook now.
Yeah. But there is good news. So that was the setup for the good news is on Sunday, so 3 days ago, at this point, 4 days ago, it all came back.
What?
Just out of nowhere, my impressions just Sunday was like 500,000 impressions. I was like, okay, what happened here? Monday was like 1,000,000 impressions. And here I am, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm rocking and rolling. So it's like,
What?
I don't know what it was, but it appears that Facebook was testing out some algorithm changes. There's been a lot of political content. There's been a lot of Olympic coverage, right? So that's
Yeah,
also
that's a good
been a
point.
discussion of like, hey, these big events have just taken up a lot of the real estate recently. And maybe, Facebook was tweaking the dial and now they've turned it back. So I really don't think it was a case of like we're posting better content now. And for the last 2 weeks, our content just wasn't good. I really do think it was some tweak that Facebook was testing or trying or doing differently. And so I'm now back to $100 a day earning on the Facebook bonus program. And so it's been a rocky ride. We didn't do anything different throughout it all. We continued to post about 15 times per day, just sharing the same great content that we like to share. But happy to report it's back. So whatever that was, I'm back. Really excited to have it earning where it was.
It's a good reminder about what is generally called platform risk, which we all know at this point. Like whether you're Google, you're relying on Google traffic, whether you're relying on the Facebook bonus program, we'll get an Amazon influencers. Like all of these start with Google, Facebook, Amazon. Like they're all platforms.
Yep.
And you're at any time you rely in some way, shape, or form on a platform, that's platform risk, and it's kind of accepted going into it. But man, what a stark reminder of that, and I'm so glad it has a happy ending.
Yeah,
I'm glad you weren't here last week. We would have just gotten doom and gloom.
It would have just been bad news. So it worked out well. So I actually have something positive to share. But that is the reality of this type of business. You are exactly right. If your business is built on a platform, you have this huge risk. And I think it's very smart for people to realize that. I realize that. This is why this is a side hustle for
That's
me.
why we call it
right?
That. It's in this
That's
segment,
why
right?
That
right.
is the entire segment is exactly right. I'm willing to try these things that I know are really risky because it's call it fun money or call it, it's a side hustle that it's not my bread and butter. It's not my main thing. It doesn't take people probably very long to figure out that my main thing is like software tools and actual products, right? This podcast, where I own the product, if you will. And so that's my tip is like, hey, your main business, you should probably try to create your own product. And whether it's for that main business, use things like Google and Facebook and Pinterest to drive traffic to your main business. Or if you're doing a side hustle, just be aware that, hey, I've got this platform risk. It's fun. And maybe I'm going to make a few $1,000s a month for 6 months, 12 months, a couple of years. I don't know, but it's probably not going to last forever.
Oh, and to that point, though, I'll give the devil's advocate or the other side, which is making your own product is really doggone difficult.
Sure.
And what you've done on the Facebook bonus program, sorry, frog in my throat. What I've done in the Amazon influencer program was significantly easier than making my own product and taking it to market. And so there's both sides, right? Like, yes, maybe you do both. Maybe build your own product while you're perhaps taking advantage of easier traffic and revenue sources, knowing they might not last and knowing that long-term, you need to be also building your own product. You need to be also building your own traffic source.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because that's the ideal, right? Is if you can build your own product, you can own the business. But I also realize, and I started this way, like I started with just a bunch of niche websites, and I did quit my job based on all of those niche websites, traffic from Google. And I always look back at that. I'm like, man, that was risky. That was crazy. And I'm glad it all worked out. And part of the reason it worked out is because a year or two into my journey, I had Longtail Pro that was doing well. And that became, a stable source of income. And my niche website income fluctuated a lot. Right. And so I've always kind of done both. And so it is ideal if you can have your own product. But I also know a lot of people that we've had on this podcast interviewed that, hey, they're making $20,000, $30,000 a month on the Facebook bonus program or on, niche websites or Amazon influencer or whatever, that they do have this platform risk and they make it work. And so you need to be aware of the risk going in.
Well said. Couldn't say it better.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. Are you adding a new internal link pointing to each article you publish? You should be. Ever find it time-consuming and a bit overwhelming? Remembering what content you published and deciding which anchor text to use can be a real headache. What if there was a better way? Well, that's exactly why I created Link Whisper. Simply click Add Inbound Internal Links, and Link Whisper will scan your site in seconds and suggest the most relevant links with appropriate anchor text for your new article. Now simply check the box next to the internal links you want to add, and Link Whisper will add these links for you. No need to go into each article, edit, and add the link. It's already done. No more manual internal link building or guesswork. Just efficient, accurate linking that saves you time and improves your SEO. Transform your content strategy with Link Whisper. Start linking smarter, not harder. Use the coupon code podcast for $15 off. Head over to linkwhisper.com and use coupon code podcast to get $15 off.
So having said that, let's talk about Amazon Influencer that you brought up here a little bit, because I'm going to have my 2 cents to add to this, but I know you want to give an update on that.
Well, my revenue from July did drop because I had a couple of days, maybe up to a week, where there was, I think something was happening, basically, to not belabor a point we've made before. And you basically just said, again, like same kind of thing. Something happened with my account. I wasn't seeing other people have the same issue, but it was resolved quickly. And so if you look at the rest of the month, it was on pace with months prior and earnings and clicks and all that stuff. But you have to take away those few days that up to that week there. So my earnings were down a bit, back to normal, back to rocking and rolling. And
Awesome.
I thought, so somebody in the community hit me up because cat's out of the bag. My course for Amazon Influencer is now live and out there. And if you haven't heard about that, it is available. And we'll include a link in the show notes, and it's 50% off for the launch week. And that goes through the weekend. And so people can take advantage of that. There's a nice link. We can talk about the course if you want. It was 8 months in the making, but
wow.
I've gotten a lot of people emailing me, obviously, about stuff. And so somebody in the Niche Pursuits community actually reached out and said, hey, I've already been accepted. I've already had videos live. I've been in the program for a couple months, but I'm not making as much as I'd like. And they shared with me their metrics. And it was interesting. I started doing a little bit of breaking down the numbers. I asked you for your same numbers, Spencer. So I thought we could go through those, talk about them a bit, because it's really interesting. The data is fascinating. You don't get much data from Amazon, but the data they give you can still be used really interestingly. So this person sent me over. They've been on the program since April or May. I don't remember which one they said. They have 354 videos live. So that's pretty good for the first, what are we, 3-4 months in, right?
That's a lot of work. Yeah.
That's a lot of work, right? So this isn't just like a little, like I put 10 videos and I'm not making much money. Like there are several hundred videos in. If you look at their last 7 days, they are averaging 11.4 clicks per video per month. So again, I'm taking 7-day averages and aggregating them over 30 days. So it's 11.4 clicks per video. So that means every video they make goes live, and throughout the course of the month, they average 11.4. Now we all know that, same as SEO, like 20 of your first 100 videos are going to do really well, and the other 80 are just probably not going to get much at all. So 11.4. Well, Spencer, mine is 10.9, and I have over 1,000 videos. So almost identical in terms of the clicks per video per month.
Right. Almost one more click per video per month.
That's
from
it.
10 to 11, essentially.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, 0.5 if you're doing the real math there. I asked you about yours, Spencer. You have 1,076 videos live. Guess what your clicks per video per month are at? 10.3. So we're all within 10% of each other. And you've been on the program much longer than this new user. I've been on the program longer, but in the middle of the two of you. So it's fascinating to look at the fact that a lot of people are saying like, oh, I'm too late for the Amazon Influencer program. Like, I'm not getting any views anymore. No, not at all. Same number of clicks per video per month across someone that started a couple months ago, someone who started a year plus ago, and for you nearing 2 years on the program?
This is super interesting because I did a very similar analysis when I decided early on that I wanted to start outsourcing. And I just did a lot of my own projections. I didn't have a lot of hard data, right? But this gives me a lot of really interesting data, because then you can start to say, okay, I can expect this many clicks per month per video. And so if I pay to have 500 videos, created, this is my investment, right? I start to know, okay, I can get this many clicks. But I think you're going to share here in just a
I
second
was going to say
how much you earn.
yes.
Per video. And so that's the real number, right? That can give you the data you need.
So teaser, the tease is the number of clicks per video per month is almost identical within 10% of itself. The revenue per video per month is nowhere near identical. That's
Right.
where it really starts to get fascinating.
Yeah.
So for the new person on the program who's been there a couple months, their videos are getting clicked on about as much as ours. They are making $1.44 per video per month.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so again, you can just do the math on that. And now you can start to get to your point, like whether you're outsourcing or not, maybe you're insourcing. How many videos per month do I need to have up live to get the number I want to make, right?
So this person, just, to clarify, this person has 354 videos. They're making $1.44 per video per month. So I just did the math. They're making roughly $510 per month.
Exactly. Right.
Based on that. Yep.
And so you can just start to do some math. You want to make $1,000 per month. You either need more videos or you need to make more per video.
Exactly.
Now, for my videos, I'm making just shy of $3 per video per month.
Impressive.
So basically double that.
Yeah.
That's really interesting because you and I follow a similar philosophy on this, and you're making just above $1 a video per month.
Yeah, $1.23.
Correct.
Is what I'm making.
$1.23 per video per month. So there's a couple things there, and it's so funny because, sorry, I'm just going to have to say it. Like, I wish I'd known some of this going into making the course, but the good news is that this substantiates everything I put in the course.
Right.
Number one, biggest thing that I tell people and teach in the course is I teach them a process about exactly how to review high-priced products. Part of the reason you make more per video per month is because the price of the product you're reviewing is more expensive.
100%.
And the other thing that has a big influence is how you do the video, what you include, what you show, and that increases the conversion rate of the video, which means that a click turns into more dollars per video.
That's a good point.
And so those are the two factors there. We don't know which of them is we'd have to do a crazy study to figure out what products the 354 videos are about, what the average price point is, et cetera. Like that would be a very complicated study. It'd be interesting. So how much of it is high price products versus how much of it is better conversion metrics, and how you make the video and the script you use, the way you talk about it, the way that you tease people to stay around for a while, all these things. It's really interesting information though, isn't it?
It is really interesting information. And I was just going to say, I would love to see somebody go in and, look at the 1,000 products that I've reviewed and the 1,000 products you've reviewed and see what the average price is, and so we can say, oh, Jared's average price is double what mine is. And so he's making double, and maybe that's all it is. But I imagine it's somewhere in the middle, kind of how you alluded to, is that part of it's due to price. Part of it maybe is due to the script and what you're saying in the video and, higher converting videos.
I tend to think it's more the latter. And here's the only reason why. And you can go back and listen to podcast episodes where we talk about this. I didn't realize this idea of high priced products until about Q4 last year, where you smoked me in earnings.
Yeah.
And I sat down with Thomas Smith, a friend of the podcast, and he was looking at it. He's like, well, yeah, Jared, I'm looking at your numbers, and it's because you don't review enough high priced products. That's the stuff that sells especially during Q4. That's stuff people want to buy for people. And like, they don't want to buy your broom that you did a review on that's $15,
Right.
And so my coming to know about this was latter in my journey in terms of the number of videos I had made.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I am just trying to also remember, it seemed like, but that's also kind of when your earnings started to get a little more consistently higher than mine.
They did.
As well, is January, February, you started to kind of tick up to that 2,000 to 3,000 mark, and you've kind of been doing, that and beyond as well. Whereas mine kind of has settled into this $1,500 a month range. So super interesting data. Man, almost makes me want to add a bunch more videos now.
I wonder if your earnings would be higher if you had done them yourself.
I think that that's a possibility.
Yeah, possibility. Totally.
Yeah.
And I also wonder if this will fluctuate. Maybe we should reevaluate this in Q4 and see if things change, because there's such a seasonal component to Amazon Influencer. And so what I'm selling right now in the last 7 days might just be dramatically different in terms of, you don't have the products that are selling right now, but as soon as people go back to school, your stuff will start to sell. And there's nuances to a lot of this, right?
Yes.
And so, we talk a lot about seasonality in the course as well, because it's so important. Like, you might average X $1,000 per month, but it might fluctuate dramatically depending on the types of products you review and when they seasonally are purchased more. So,
right. And it's got my wheels spinning here quite a bit, because a lot of the people that, I outsource my videos. And so a lot of the people that I hired did a great job, but a lot of them, it was kind of like, wasn't that great. And so, they got a video up and then reviewed the product, but it
was the story
probably not a
person,
high converting video.
The person, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had some story where like you hadn't like approved them, but you hadn't told them that they weren't approved, and so they made like 150 videos or something. You're like, well,
yes.
Now what do I do? I guess I just take them.
Yes, she misunderstood the process. Yeah. Essentially, the idea was I was supposed to give you the okay to actually record those videos, but instead she recorded like 100, 150, and is like, whoa, okay, I guess I got 150 videos.
That might have killed your average a bit.
There's some of that. So if I were to go back and do it again, I actually would look at the tips in your course and figure out, okay, what is Jared doing that makes better converting videos? And I would combine that with any ideas that maybe I had, and I would have a better script and a better standard operating procedure if I were to outsource that. If I were to do it all myself, it would be very easy. I could just pick up the phone and do it. But if people want to check out your course, we'll leave the link, in the show notes, and they can go check that out. But really interesting data that you've got there. And I just love that we're still talking about the Amazon Influencer Program a year and a half later, and it's still like a great opportunity.
I mean, I remember you and I both broke 1,000 videos in December, because we both broke it the same week. Yep. And we were both very excited to get it done before the end of the year. And I'm looking, and I've only uploaded, I don't even know, like 158 videos since then, and you're 76 videos since then. So I wouldn't say we've been tremendously active on it, and it's still just churning out a really, truly passive income at this point,
Yeah.
Or virtually passive, I guess we should say, because we have done a little bit of work.
Right. But I like to look at these side hustles, right? Like I've got like $1,500 a month now that's like pure profit, passive. I can decide to take that $1,500 a month and either reinvest in Amazon influencer videos, or essentially in my mind, what I'm doing is I'm taking that money, I'm investing in the Facebook bonus program right now. I'm paying somebody to run that Facebook page for me. And that's now doing like $100 a day, right? So I've kind of made a stair step, if you will. I may just come back and get all fired up about Amazon influencer again and do a bunch more.
It'd be the right time. I mean, right now, the videos you're making in August and September will more than likely seed themselves and be in the carousels for Q4, which, Spencer, you made not $1,500 in Q4. In December, you made $6,300, something like over $6,000.
Yeah, it was just over $6,000, like $6,200, maybe something like that.
Something like that. So,
I'm hoping it goes well again.
One quick update on Creator Connections, which is a part of the Amazon Influencer Program, but not shoppable videos per se. I reported 2 weeks ago that I was going to do it. I did 10 or 11 campaigns. Last week, I reported that. So a week, I earned $23. So not exactly life-changing, but mostly with content I already had, or basically could just really quickly tweak and change. 2 weeks later, so 2 weeks in now, so 1 week later, 2 weeks total, I'm at, ironically, $46. So it's literally at $23
Exactly
a week
double.
right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So if you project that out for the month, it's like 3% added earnings.
right.
It's also so little extra work. So I don't know. That's not really much to talk about. But if you're wondering about it, that's what we do. We talk about different stuff we're trying. And so that's where we're at here.
Yeah, I still think it's interesting, right? To like have that higher commission rate per product. And so if it's something that you can get to work, why not?
It also feels a bit like how we talk about like when we look at your monthly earnings on Facebook, but before you got into the bonus program and you were earning money just from the traffic on ads, on AdSense or, Mediavine Journey, I think is now where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
And it really was very spiky, right? Like you just kind of go along and then bam, one post would take off and you're off to the races. I wonder if Creator Connections is like that. Like if you just happen to catch the hot product, you get the right spot, the carousel, the commissions are so much higher and bam, for whatever it is, a week, a month, whatever the campaign is, you just really churn out the earnings. And then, so maybe it's something like that too. So I'm willing to kind of participate and try to see if that's maybe where it goes, right? What if you've given up after 2 weeks on your Facebook page? You wouldn't even be having these conversations.
Exactly. I mean, it's kind of the 80-20 principle, right? Is that, hey, maybe you're going to hit on that 20% of products that's just going to make up this huge amount of earnings or something.
Yeah. And I've only done 10 or 11 videos. So back to my point, like if it is one of those situations and I've only done 10 or 11, I'm a terrible representation of the potential of the Creator Connection program.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll give it some time and check back in for sure.
Well, very good.
Yes. So we are going to move on now to our final segment of the show here with our weird niche sites. And I sort of set it up here where maybe you don't be real excited about mine, but I've got an interesting thought related to it. But
I think it's
Jared, I'm
good.
excited. Okay, good.
I do.
Maybe I'm down on it because I don't think it's making much money, but I like the idea. So let's go ahead and share this one here.
Can I just say, and again, I just looked at it right here, but can I just say that this feels like one of these situations, Spencer, that you are going to be oddly really good at?
Well, we'll see about that. Maybe we'll try this live. Anytime we do something live, I guess, I've done okay. But so the website is spotthedifference.com. And it's just what it sounds like. You've got 2 pictures here on the homepage, and you try to come in and spot what is different about these images. Now,
I just found one. Oh, I found 2. Okay, I found 2 now. I was really feeling bad. I found 2.
Now,
okay.
I will say that I was on this website earlier, so I'm not going to be a good judge to do this live because every time, no matter if I refresh this homepage, it's the same picture. So
that's a bummer.
I know there's one there. Wow, I don't know if you heard that noise, but when you click on something,
I got that one.
There's one there.
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
I remember there's one. Oh, I think
right
there's
there.
a guy there, and I don't know where the last one is. If you get it wrong, I just click, and it is. Anyways, you try to guess 4 differences. I'm not going to spend the time finding the 4th one unless you know right where it is, Jared.
No, you got the 2 I'd found.
Okay, so you spot the difference. Even though when I refresh the homepage, you can go to the photo game here, and then. Oh man, we've got some good.
Are you playing this on your original Game Boy?
That's what it sounds like. It's like 8-bit games here that you can click on different pictures, and it will. You can try again on a different picture. It's got a couple other puzzles that you can do, and I keep laughing because if you don't hear, it's all these sounds here. So you've got different games that you can play, but mostly here just spotting the difference between a couple different things. You come in here and try to find the difference, and if you get it wrong, I'll let you know. But clearly, this website is monetized with display ads, right? It's all over the place, top, side, bottom, and so monetized with display ads. And just to pull up the performance of the website, I pulled up SimilarWeb so you can see how much traffic it's getting. Like I said, it's not getting a ton of traffic, right? 23,000 visitors roughly in July. So it's, it's getting something, but probably only making a couple $100 a month, a few $100 a month, maybe, depending on what it is. And also in Ahrefs, it is getting some SEO traffic here, getting, maybe 10,000 visitors per month. And I'm curious what keywords. Yeah, just spot the difference. There you go. Spot the difference games. That's pretty much what it's ranking for in Google.
I mean, 17,000 searches a month for spot the difference. That's probably not a quote branded search. I would imagine that's more of a generic search that they just happen to grab an exact match domain for.
I think so. I think that's the case. People are just, they're bored. They want to do a spot the difference type games, and that's what they call it. And that's what they search for. So I kind of enjoy these types of mini game niche websites. We've done a few of these in the past, where it's just kind of a fun pass the time game that's interactive. You're clicking on things on the website. I still think at some point I would really like to make one of these websites myself, where it's just a small little game or something fun to do. Of course, we've got the classic check the boxes, 1 million check the box website, something that's just kind of a mindless game where you're just doing something on a small little website. I like these. I think there's 1,000 ideas out there that people could build. Some of these might only make, a few $100s a month, like this one. But I think there's some ideas that could just go absolutely viral and make much, much more. And so I like this genre of niche site. And so that's why I wanted to share this one today.
See, I told you I love these too. And you always kind of find these and then almost poo-paw them.
Well,
they're so fun. I think these are so cool. And they're so, again, like we have fun with this, but part of the idea of the weird niche segment is to take weird stuff out there and use that as inspiration to kind of spark your mind, right? And that's exactly what my idea will spark your mind far less than this in terms of ideas, side hustles, like tying this all together, even maybe an idea you can run with, yes, as a project for yourself, but even maybe just with a current project,
Right. Yeah. And so, let's jump into yours. I'm interested to see where you found this.
Well, mine, I don't remember where I found this. I'm still running through the list of stuff that people have sent me. I went through the desert there where I didn't have anybody sharing anything with me. And then, the world swung back towards me and karma came back to me and I got a bunch shared with me. And this one is good. I like it a lot. I think it's really random. The website. It is, right? The website is whereismymilkfrom.com.
Whereismymilkfrom.com.
And once again, as is the theme or the trend here, it is exactly what it says. And I didn't know this, but did you know there's a secret code hiding in plain sight on your dairy container? I don't know why they don't call it milk container. Maybe they're trying to, do different semantically related keywords on your dairy container that tells you where it's from. Locate the code on your carton or container, enter it in this search field, and we'll tell you exactly where your milk came from. Wow. And the same, by the way, goes for yogurt, chocolate milk, organic milk, coffee creamer, and more.
I didn't know that.
Did you? Yeah, I was going to say, did you know that?
I didn't. So
I gave you a picture of my milk. You don't have to bring it up, but I can read you the code because I went and found the code. You can bring it up too if you want, by the way. I went to my fridge because I'm like, I got to test this out. And so I found the code. They have a wonderful way they guide you through how to locate the code. It's part of a, jumbled, there you go. Right there it is. There's a picture of my milk.
Some milk.
Some milk. And so if you're looking at this on the screen, you'll see it. If you're not, it's the best by, kind of drink it by this date. And then below that, there's a bunch of random numbers and letters. That last one, 06-2374, is the code to enter in. So go back and enter that code in, Spencer. And again, they make this, it's very navigable. It's very nice looking site. And so you can enter that in there in the search bar right on the home screen to see where my milk that's in my fridge came from.
All right. So we got a search here. It's from the Hollandia Dairy in San Marcos, California.
Which is 15 miles, 20 miles up the road. That's where my last business was based out of.
Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't know there's a dairy farm that close to me.
Huh. And does it give you any more details about the milk?
So I was trying to figure out, it says certifications, and I was trying to click in on all that. I think that that's the certifications that dairy actually has. Apparently they make eggnog.
Have to look for that around Christmas time.
So, and they give you like just the, I don't know if I wouldn't call that contact info. They say it's contact info. I wouldn't call that contact, and I didn't play around because I didn't know any of their codes. Like I couldn't really make up codes. So suffice to say, if I had other codes, I'd try some other things and maybe try to see what they pull up for other dairies. But that's the only dairy that I had. A couple things about this website. Let's talk about the search stuff. It's a DR37, so kind of similar to your site. It only ranks for 619 keywords. It gets less than 1,000 visits per month from organic search. So apparently, not many people are looking to know where their milk came from.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a lot of direct traffic though. But maybe not.
Right? I should have told you to
check it out while you're.
Okay, I was going to say similar web would be good for there. So I did find this interesting. I only found in Ahrefs, again, Google removed the site operator search on this, so I can't really use that. But in Ahrefs, it only has 145 pages, which kind of implies to me, like, are there really only 145 dairies in the United States? There's got to be way more than that. So either they're not indexed because this site just isn't crawled enough to like get all of the dairies indexed, or it looked pretty thin content. So could be that. Didn't look at the site map, or maybe they're only keying in on certain dairies. I don't feel like my San Marcos Hollandaria dairy has got to be a very big one, given that I don't even know it exists. But anyways, so that's interesting, right? I do wonder about that. If you go to the menu of any of from any of the pages of the website, you'll see that this is all on whereismymilk.com. But if you go to like dairy recipes, for example, or daily nutrition, these are all menu options. It goes to a completely different website.
Oh, interesting.
The Dairy Alliance. And so basically the entire website, aside from the Where Is My Milk components, are forwarding, or in essence going to different websites. It's a very interesting play. If you go back to the whereismymilkfrom.com page and go down to the footer, you can kind of learn a little bit more here about the copyright. And so it's the copyright 2023 Virginia State Dairymen's Association. And so it looks like this is put together by a specific state in the United States, kind of dairy association.
Oh, interesting.
Now, they're not very active, Spencer. It looks like the last blog post was published in 2015.
2015, wow. So somebody was ambitious on the technology side, probably launched this website, did a few things, and then they never wrote a blog post again.
So suffice to say, maybe more people are interested in Where's My Milk From, but the site really hasn't been worked on much, maybe so.
So it's a union, right? I mean, the Dairymen's Association. Like. You can pay your dues here. Interesting. I don't know if you looked ahead of time, but you've got the Dairy Alliance website. Did you see like how well they're doing in search or anything like that? I wonder if they're a bigger.
We should. They look like a much bigger website, don't they?
Yeah, just because all the menus are going there, and just to give people heads up on the similar web, the site only gets like 5,800 visits a month according to similar web. Okay. So whereismymilkfrom.com anyways. And then so this website, the Dairy Alliance, it gets a little more traffic.
Yeah, a little more.
Yeah, well, I guess a lot more compared to Where Is My Milk From, right? But it's a DR54 and 15,000 search a month, so it's a little bit bigger.
If you look at that all-time graph, kind of a nice growth trajectory, nice, steady. Maybe a little bit of fluctuations with some Google updates, but nothing dramatic.
Right, and always curious what it might rank for. Types of yogurt. Oh. Does milk help with spicy food?
Oh.
Is Greek yogurt dairy? That sort of thing. So they've got some content out there.
Yeah, a lot of their blog content.
Yeah. So they're actually got a blog there and somebody's producing content. So very cool. So right after this podcast, I am going to go open my fridge. I'm going to type in a code and I'm going to see where my milk is from.
I kind of want to drive by the dairy that produces my milk. I mean, it's what my kids drink every morning. Like, I'm kind of curious.
I don't know why I'm a little bit surprised that the dairy is so close to where you live.
I don't know why I am too, but I'm very surprised, I guess.
I mean, that makes the most sense, but I see these, milk trucks driving down the highway, and I just assume my milk's coming from, I don't know, Wisconsin. That's where all the cows are, right?
Wisconsin, duh.
But I guess it makes a lot of sense. I mean, milk is very perishable.
Yes.
Probably keeping it close logistically is a smart move.
Someone's thought about this.
Somebody, the Dairymen's Association actually put some thought into this.
We have
process.
Just offended every dairyman in the country. I apologize.
We just got a lot of unsubscribes right now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we actually, my grandpa grew up on a dairy and worked on a dairy for basically his whole life. He would be
my
very
brother-in-law,
disappointed.
same. Grew up in Pico, California, dairy.
So there you go.
Yeah.
We're techies. Go figure. So, all right. Well, Jared, good find. I like that niche website quite a bit. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around, for talking about the news here, the big Google news, of course. Hopefully you found something interesting in our discussion with our side projects that we have going on. It's always good to catch up with you, Jared, to hear about what you're working on, and, of course, the Weird Niche sites. So thank you, everyone, so much for listening. And, Jared, thank you once again for helping out.
Good to be here. Good to be here with you. And everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Hey there, thanks so much for listening to the Niche Pursuits podcast. Did you know that Jared and I are members of a private group called the Niche Pursuits Community? And today I want to share with you how you can join for just $1. The Niche Pursuits Community is a private members area for niche online publishers to mastermind and grow their businesses together. We hold weekly calls live with experts where you can ask questions. These experts share tips on Amazon Influencer, Google Discover, building email newsletters, getting traffic from Facebook, and other strategies to grow your online business. You'll also be assigned a mastermind group of 4 or 5 other people in a similar stage in business as you. Dive deep into your business issues and get your problems solved. If you use coupon code PODCAST at checkout, you'll get your first month for just $1. Go ahead and give it a try. Come join me, Jared, and lots of other digital entrepreneurs inside my private group at community.nichepursuits.com. And be sure to use coupon code PODCAST. I'll see you on the inside.